A black man can't own this place legally. You're either a dealer or a thief. On your knees, boy, before I put you there myself." Officer Cooper spits the words at the wrought iron gate, glaring at Marcus Reed. A black multi-millionaire standing waist-deep in his own pool in Riverside Heights, Arizona. Late Friday. Sun baking the desert sky. Marcus drifting in the water of his $1.2 million home, when two white cops roll up to harass him. They don't knock. They don't greet. They bark orders. They demand ID, voices sharp. And when Marcus steps toward the gate, they seize him. Hand slammed against hot metal, cheek pressed to the bars, cuffed so fast his towel drops to the concrete. Humiliation burns hotter than the sun. Across the street, his white neighbor watches through a slit in her curtain, seeing everything, saying nothing. Cooper has no idea he just detonated his own career. Marcus has been preparing for this moment for 2 years. 12 hidden cameras hum quietly around the property, catching every slur, every shove, every illegal move in crystal clarity. Marcus doesn't raise his voice, doesn't fight. He only asks for one thing, a phone call to one specific name. That single request is a fuse. When that call connects, it will rip open careers, strip away carefully buried secrets, and remind everyone that justice may be bruised, but it isn't buried. Anyone who's ever been told they don't belong is about to feel very, very satisfied. Marcus Reed bought the place in Riverside Heights 2 years earlier. $1.2 million, 5 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, gated community with desert sunsets framed like paintings. The pool sealed the deal. Kidney-shaped, salt water, mountain views that looked like a postcard. He loved the architecture, the quiet streets, the frictionless luxury. He never quite loved the way it felt. At 43, after building and selling a software startup before he turned 38, he thought he'd finally bought peace. Instead, he purchased scrutiny. Marcus wears a watch that costs more than most used cars. He drives a Tesla, tips everyone heavy, and still gets side-eyed. Every morning he jogs the same loop, breathing in dry heat, watching sprinklers mist manicured lawns. Riverside Heights is 89% white. He knew that when he signed the closing documents. His realtor gave a tight little warning smile. "Very established neighborhood." Marcus understood exactly what that meant, and bought anyway. Within a week, Linda Baker's curtains start twitching every time he passes. Day after day, Linda's beige drapes quiver as he jogs by. Never a wave, never a hello, just the soft rustle of fabric and the feeling of eyes on his back. By the end of week 2, patrol cars start appearing like clockwork. They cruise past his driveway 3-4 times a day, slowing to a crawl, windows cracked. No calls, no tickets, no conversation. Just a message. "We see you." Week 3. The HOA emails begin. Too many cars for dinner. He had 4 guests. Noise complaint for a movie at 9 p.m. Suspicious activity becomes their favorite phrase. They file a report when he pressure washes his own driveway. They log unusual behavior when he unloads computer equipment. Every complaint triggers a check-in. Every investigation ends with no violation, yet the paper trail grows. Marcus isn't naive. He's 43, built a multi-million-dollar company from a cramped 1-bedroom apartment in Tempe, grinding 90-hour weeks for 7 relentless years before the buyout. He knows patterns. He knows harassment dressed up as concern when he sees it. When you're black and successful, people are quick to assign you a category: athlete, entertainer, or criminal. Tech founder doesn't fit the script. So they stare. They whisper. They call the police and pretend it's about rules. Marcus tries being perfect. He waves at everyone. He shows up to HOA meetings, introduces himself. He bakes cookies for Linda, hands them over with a friendly smile. She accepts the plate without gratitude and shuts the door. He keeps his yard pristine, music low, visits short. He shrinks himself, hoping it helps. It doesn't. The questions keep coming. At the community pool, who are you visiting? At the gatehouse, can we see your access badge? At the mailboxes, remind me which house is yours again? The tone is always polite, but under it there's steel. We're watching you. We're deciding if you belong. Marcus feels the weight of it settling over his days. So on March 22nd, 2022, he stops hoping for acceptance and starts preparing for war. He calls a security company and orders more cameras than anyone thinks reasonable. 12 eyes go up around his property. A front gate camera with facial recognition. A driveway camera that grabs license plates. 3 separate angles on the pool. Side yard. Street views. Doorbell. Garage. Backyard. All 4 all cloud-synced, motion alerts pinging his phone day and night. The installer squints at the setup and jokes, "Expecting trouble?" Marcus smiles. Careful and non-committal. That same afternoon, he makes another call. This one to Lauren Price, a civil rights lawyer he met years ago at a tech conference in Austin. Lauren specializes in police misconduct. 40-plus cases, most won or settled in her client's favor. Marcus explains the patrol cars, the anonymous complaints, the constant hovering suspicion. Her silence on the line isn't surprise, it's recognition. "You want to retain me, just in case?" she asks. "Exactly," he replies. She emails a retainer agreement. Marcus signs electronically and wires $20,000 that afternoon. Lauren sends back her personal cell number. "If something goes down, call me immediately. Don't argue with them. Don't explain. Just say my name." Marcus repeats it in his head. Lauren Price, as if it's a password that might unlock his survival. Months pass, then a year. The cameras quietly record his life, swimming, grilling, reading, pacing on calls, watering plants. No officers step past the gate. No new complaints land in his inbox. The patrol cars thin out to almost nothing. Gradually, the knot in his chest loosens. Maybe he overreacted. Maybe the cameras are an expensive overcorrection. Then June 14th arrives. Friday afternoon, 3:42 p.m. Everything changes with one buzz. Marcus floats on his back in the shimmering water, eyes closed, skin warm, mind drifting. When the gate buzzer shrills through the quiet yard, he glides to the edge, wipes water from his face, grabs a towel. As he walks toward the house, he checks his phone. His security app shows 2 uniformed officers framed at his front gate. His pulse spikes, but his mind clicks into a practiced calm. He opens the intercom screen and sees one older, broad-shouldered cop and a younger one behind him. Marcus presses the talk button. "Can I help you?" The older cop tilts his chin. "Riverside Police. We need to speak with you." Marcus asks, "About what?" "Noise complaint." The man answers flatly. "Open the gate." Marcus glances at his quiet yard. No speakers, no party, just the soft lap of water against tile. His closest neighbor is Linda, 200 feet away. The other house on his side is empty. "I'm not playing any music," Marcus says. "We still need to verify residence. Open up, sir." That "sir" doesn't sound respectful. It sounds like a dare. Marcus taps the release button. The gate buzzes and slides open. He meets them in the driveway. Still damp, towel looped over his shoulders, heat pressing down like a weight. 104 degrees. The officers approach. Nameplates catch the light. Cooper and Ortiz. Cooper looks mid-30s, buzz-cut, thick arms. Ortiz is younger, eyes uncertain. Cooper stops 10 feet away, starts scanning Marcus up and down, slowly, like he's inspecting a problem. "You live here?" Cooper finally asks. "Yeah," Marcus replies. "Prove it." Marcus blinks. "Prove I live in my own house?" Cooper shrugs. "Need-I'd." "My wallet's inside," Marcus says. Cooper's hand drops toward his belt. "Why you gotta go inside?" Marcus keeps his hands visible. "Because that's where my ID is." "Don't move your hands! Cooper snaps, stepping in closer. Marcus raises both palms, towel slipping. I'm not reaching for anything. You asked for identification. Ortiz shifts his weight. Marcus notices something else. Both body cams are dark. No blinking lights. No recording indicators. Those cameras are deliberately off. Marcus feels his heart rate jack up, but his voice stays calm. Am I being detained? He asks. Cooper moves into his space, breath carrying coffee and cigarettes. Turn around, hands behind your back. For what? Marcus asks. You're resisting. Cooper snarls. I asked a legal question. Marcus says. Turn around, now, Ortiz murmurs. Cooper, maybe... Cooper cuts him off. I said I've got it. Metal cuffs appear. Marcus doesn't fight. He turns slowly. The steel bites his wrists, far tighter than necessary. He winces, but doesn't complain. From the corner of his eye, he sees Linda's curtain flick open. She's there, watching him stand half-naked and handcuffed in his own driveway. He can almost feel her judgment through the glass. The curtain stays parted 5 seconds, just long enough to witness his humiliation, then snaps shut again. It's 4:03 p.m. Marcus stands exposed, drying in the heat. 2 officers with disabled cameras flanking him, every second captured by his own. Cooper squeezes the cuffs a bit more, leaning in. Who actually owns this house? He asks. I do, Marcus replies. Sure you do. Guys like you don't usually own places like this. Ortiz looks away, jaw tight. Marcus forces his breathing slow. He has practiced this conversation in his head for 2 years, 12 cameras recording every word, every racist assumption, every abuse of power. He speaks clearly. I want to call my attorney, Lauren Price. Cooper's smirk flickers. Just a second, Marcus adds. You know that name? Cooper's jaw tenses. He keys his radio, suddenly all business. Dispatch, need a supervisor at Riverside Heights. Confirm address. The radio crackles back. Copy. Sending Captain Ellis. Ortiz shifts again, nervous energy coiling in his shoulders. Maybe we should just... He starts. We're waiting for Ellis. Cooper snaps. Marcus stands there, wrists throbbing, heat baking his skin, saying nothing. Somewhere downtown, a phone vibrates on Lauren Price's desk. She glances at the caller ID, sees Marcus's name, and knows exactly what finally happened. 22 minutes drag by. Marcus stays cuffed in 100+ degree heat, salt from the dried pool water itching his skin. Sweat trickles down his back. His shoulders ache from the position, but he doesn't beg, doesn't plead. Cooper paces, makes calls, pretends this is all routine. Ortiz hovers near the patrol car, pretending to check something on the in-dash computer. The cul-de-sac is dead quiet, no cars driving by, no neighbors stepping outside. Linda's curtain remains closed, but Marcus knows she's still there, comfortable and silent. At 4:18, Marcus's phone, sitting on the patio table, buzzes with an incoming call. The vibration pattern is the one Lauren told him to set just for her. 3 short bursts. She's on her way. By 4:25, a black BMW glides around the corner and stops neatly behind the patrol car. Lauren steps out like court just adjourned. Late 30s, dark suit despite the heat, briefcase in one hand, phone in the other. She doesn't rush. She walks with the measured confidence of someone who's had this exact fight dozens of times. Cooper watches her approach with narrowed eyes. Ortiz straightens instinctively. Lauren reaches them, slides 2 business cards from a silver case, and hands one to each officer. Lauren Price, civil rights attorney. She says coolly. I represent Mr. Reed. You're going to remove those handcuffs immediately. Cooper glances at the card, jaw flexing. Your client was resisting, he says. He was answering questions. Lauren counters. Take the cuffs off, or I'll file for false arrest before you're back at the station. Ortiz moves first, fumbling for the key. Cooper shoots him a warning look, but doesn't stop him. The cuffs pop open. Marcus brings his hands forward, rubbing tender, reddened wrists. Lauren doesn't ask if she can document them. She just pulls her phone, snaps 3 photos from different angles, cataloguing the injury. Cooper's radio crackles again. "Captain Ellis is 10 minutes out!" Lauren turns to Marcus, her voice softer. "You all right?" He nods. "Don't answer any more of their questions." She pivots back to Cooper. "What was the supposed complaint?" she asks. "Noise disturbance?" Cooper says, gesturing vaguely toward the pool. "From where?" Lauren presses. He shrugs toward the backyard. "And the complainant?" "Anonymous," Cooper replies. Lauren's eyes flash. "Anonymous," she repeats. "Mr. Reed has been swimming alone. No speakers, no guests, no party. So either your mysterious caller was dead wrong, or this call was never about noise." Cooper says nothing. "I'll need the call log," Lauren continues. "Time, caller ID, recording, everything. I'll be filing for it Monday, along with a formal complaint." She taps a note into her phone. "I assume both body cams captured this entire interaction," she adds. Ortiz's eyes widen. Cooper's face turns to stone. "Technical issues," he mutters. "Cameras malfunctioned." Lauren stares at him. "Both cameras? Same call? Same time?" she asks. "That's unfortunate." Her thumbs fly across her screen. "I'll also be requesting maintenance records and metadata showing when they were last activated." An unmarked sedan turns onto the street and parks. A man in plain clothes steps out, carefully composed. Early 50s, grey threading his hair, cheap suit hanging just right to suggest authority without style. He moves with the practiced calm of someone used to smoothing fires, not putting them out. "That's Captain Raymond Ellis," Lauren says quietly to Marcus. "He's the one who makes complaints disappear." Ellis approaches with his hands visible, palms slightly open in a textbook de-escalation gesture. "Good afternoon," he says, tiring. "I'm Captain Ellis. Let's figure out what happened here." His tone is honey. His eyes are calculating. "What happened?" Lauren answers before Marcus can speak. "Is that your officers responded to a phantom noise complaint, demanded ID from a homeowner standing in his own driveway, and when he exercised his right to ask whether he was being detained, they cuffed him, and somehow both body cams conveniently went dark." Ellis's smile thins. "I understand there's been some confusion," he says smoothly. "Mr. Reed, we apologize. The officers were following procedure. Sometimes things get miscommunicated in the field. We're happy to file a report, note confusion, move on." "Move on?" Lauren repeats, eyebrows raised. "How many times have you used that line, Captain?" His smile freezes just a touch. "I'm simply stating facts," he replies. Marcus speaks for the first time in 20 minutes, voice quiet and cold. "There's more than your facts, Captain." Lauren nods toward the house. 12 cameras recorded this entire encounter," she says. "Gate, driveway, pool, street. Multiple angles. Every word, including Officer Cooper's comment about guys like you not belonging here." Cooper goes visibly pale. Ortiz steps back. Ellis clears his throat. "If there were inappropriate comments," he begins. "There were," Lauren says flatly. "And they're all recorded, along with timestamps showing both body cams manually deactivated at 3:51 p.m., 6 minutes before they approached the gate." She hands Ellis her card. "All communication goes through me from now on. Mr. Reed will not answer any questions or sign anything. Monday morning, I'm filing formal complaints with Internal Affairs, the City Council, and the State Civil Rights Division. Are we clear?" The silence stretches. Ellis takes the card, glances at Marcus, and something in his expression shifts. He realizes this is not going to be one of the quiet ones. "Crystal clear," he finally says. He turns to the officers. "We're done here. Let's go." Cooper looks like he wants to argue, thinks better of it, and stalks toward the patrol car. Ortiz follows, shoulders sagging. Ellis slides into his sedan. One by one, the vehicles pull away from the curb. By 4:35, the street looks perfectly normal again. "You got everything recorded?" Lauren asks. Marcus exhales slowly. "Every second," he says. 12 angles, 4K, backed up to the cloud. Lauren nods once. Good, now we start working. She pulls a tablet from her briefcase as they head inside. Send me all the footage tonight. Every camera, full timeline, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I can do it now, Marcus says. She studies him. You've been ready for this for 2 years. Why? He gestures at the pool, the driveway, the gate where he was just cuffed. Because I knew it was coming, he says. I'm tired of being scared in my own house. Lauren nods, understanding in her eyes. Then let's make sure it doesn't happen again, she replies. Inside, cool air slams into them like a wall. Marcus's muscles ache as the adrenaline starts to crash. Lauren sets her briefcase on the kitchen island. He hands her a bottle of water. Show me your system, she says, already unlocking her tablet. Marcus grabs his iPad and opens the security app, heart pounding again. 12 camera feeds appear in a grid, tiny windows capturing every corner of his life. Marcus scrubs back to 3:42 p.m. The footage rolls, him floating in the pool, peaceful, eyes closed, surrounded by blue and silence. No speakers, no company, just sun and water. At 3:57, the gate buzzer lights up on screen. Lauren watches the footage quietly. Keep going, she says. The cameras show Cooper and Ortiz at the gate, the conversation at the intercom, Marcus opening the gate, them stepping in. Every word is clear, every posture visible. Marcus fast-forwards, pauses, rewinds, plays. Lauren leans in and zooms on Cooper's chest. The lens of his body cam is dark, no light, no reflection, no... What time exactly? She asks. 3:57. Marcus answers. She makes a note. Cameras dead on approach. That's deliberate. She waves him to resume. They watch Cooper's expression when Marcus says her name. His eyes flicker. His stance shifts. He's heard of me, Lauren says. Has he? Marcus asks. Probably. I've hit Riverside PD 3 times in 4 years, she says. 2 settled quietly. 1 we took to trial and 1. If Cooper's been around, he knows my name is expensive. Marcus sips his water, wrists still throbbing. So what happens now? He asks. Lauren closes the app and looks him dead in the eye. Now we build a case, she says. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This won't be easy. They're going to push back hard. Riverside PD hates complaints backed by evidence. Once we file, your life won't be the same. She walks him through it. They'll dig through your background. Every ticket, every late payment, anything they can twist. They'll leak stories to make you look unstable, angry, dishonest. You'll become the problem, not their officer. Marcus shrugs. They can go digging. I've got nothing to hide. Lauren nods. Good. That retainer you paid 2 years ago? That wasn't paranoia. That was strategy. She pulls a folder thick with documents from her briefcase. Cases like this take months, sometimes years. Most people can't afford that fight. They settle, she says, flipping pages. They take a check, sign a non-disclosure, and vanish from the news cycle. The system counts on that, but you're not most people. Marcus leans against the counter, listening. I'm not interested in quiet money, he says. I know. Lauren replies, that's why we have a shot. She lays out forms, timelines, statutes. Understand this, though. Cooper isn't the core problem. He's a symptom. The real problem is the structure that protects him. The supervisors. The city that budgets for payouts. Marcus frowns. How long has that been going on? He asks. Don't know yet, Lauren says. But I will. She taps the folder. Monday, I file formal complaints. Internal Affairs, City Council, State Civil Rights Division. At the same time, I request records. Every complaint naming Cooper for the last 5 years, every settlement involving Riverside PD, every so-called body cam malfunction. They'll fight it, but Arizona's public records laws are actually decent. With enough pressure, they'll cough up more than they want. She shuts the folder gently. Meanwhile, I need you to write down everything. Tonight. Start to finish. What Cooper said, how the cuffs felt, the temperature, what you saw in Linda's window. Every detail, even the ones that seem small. Marcus nods slowly. Tonight, Lauren repeats, while your memory is fresh, the footage will back you up, but your written statement matters. Also, I want the full video pulled, every angle, from 3 to 5 p.m. Send it to my secure server. I'll loop in my investigator. You have an investigator? Marcus asks. A small, wry smile curves her lips. Derek Sloan, she says. Former FBI. He lives for police misconduct cases. He's very good at digging out things departments attempt to bury. Metadata, digital archives, weird gaps in paper trails. He costs more than most people can handle. She looks around Marcus's modern kitchen. You can handle him. Marcus nods. Whatever it takes. This isn't just about me, is it? Lauren shakes her head. If Cooper did this to you, he's done it before. And if the department's been silently cutting settlement checks to keep folks quiet, she continues, then we're not dealing with one bad cop. We're looking at a pattern, a machine. Marcus glances down at his hands. The red lines on his wrists are already darkening toward purple. How long are we talking? He asks. Months, maybe longer. Lauren answers. You sure you want to ride this out? Marcus thinks of himself standing half naked and cuffed, Linda staring from her window. Of Cooper's sneer. Guys like you. I'm sure, Marcus says. There's no hesitation left. Lauren extends her hand. He takes it. Then we start now, she says. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. sharp. The doorbell rings. Marcus, still sore and restless after a night of writing, opens the door to find a man in his early 50s on the porch. Salt and pepper hair, wire-framed glasses, laptop bag on one shoulder, and hard case equipment in the other hand. Derek Sloan, he says. Lauren sent me. Marcus steps aside and lets him in, something like anticipation rising. Derek sets up camp in the dining room, unfurling cables and portable drives like he's building a command center. I'll need full admin access to your security system, he says. Cloud credentials, login, everything. If you've written passwords on sticky notes, now's the time to admit it. Marcus hands him the iPad. No sticky notes, he says. Derek plugs in, fingers flying across the keys. 12 cameras, 4K, 60 frames per second. Redundant cloud backup, he mutters. Most people have a doorbell that barely catches faces. You've got a studio. Marcus shrugs. I wanted to be prepared, he says. You were, Derek replies. He cues up the footage from Friday, splits the screen into 4 angles, and starts watching. First at normal speed, then in slow motion. He rewinds, zooms, pauses, scribbles notes. 20 minutes pass without much conversation. Marcus watches Derek watch him get cuffed over and over. Finally, Derek leans back. Here's what we've got, he says. 4 angles show Cooper and Ortiz approaching at 3:57, cameras mounted on their chests, lenses dark as stone. Watch the body cams, Derek says. He zooms in on Cooper's unit, then Ortiz's. No power indicator, no status light. They shut them off before they came through your gate. Marcus frowns. Can we prove they didn't just glitch? Derek's smile is thin. Already working on it. He opens another window filled with raw code and timestamps. I pulled spec sheets for Riverside PD's body cams, Axon Body 3s. They log everything, every activation, deactivation, override. They're basically snitches strapped to your chest. Unless, of course, you deliberately silence them. Give me 48 hours, Derek says. I'll have the logs. He clicks to another document. We also filed a preservation order yesterday afternoon. Judge signed it by 6. As of 6 p.m. Friday, Riverside PD is legally required to preserve all digital records related to Friday's call. Bodycam data, GPS from the cruiser, radio traffic, everything. If anything disappears after that timestamp, we're talking destruction of evidence. Marcus exhales through his teeth. What are we really staring down here? He asks quietly. Derek opens a spreadsheet, columns of names and numbers filling the screen. Lauren asked me to dig while she was driving over yesterday, he explains. So I pulled public records, court filings, local news mentions. You want to know what I found on Cooper? Marcus nods. He's been with Riverside PD 12 years, Derek says. In that time, he's racked up 12 formal complaints. That's an average of 1 a year. Clockwork. Marcus feels that cold weight settle in his gut again. What kind of complaints? He asks. Use of force, unlawful detention, racial profiling. Derek says. He scrolls. Every single complainant is a person of color, black, Latino, native. Not a single white complainant in the stack. Internal Affairs stamped 9 of them unfounded after investigations that lasted barely a week. The other 3 were resolved without discipline. Derek clicks into another database. But 2 of those complainants went further. They filed civil suits. Both cases ended in sealed settlements. The city's insurance carrier handled it, which means money moved quietly. How much money? Marcus asks. Can't see exact amounts. Derek answers. The settlements are sealed, but typical civil rights cases with strong evidence run anywhere from 15 to 50 grand, sometimes more. Multiply that a few times, and it adds up. He opens another file. And then there's Ellis, he adds. Your friend from yesterday. Captain Ellis. Marcus says. That's him. He's been with the department 23 years. Derek explains. Last 8 in Internal Affairs. His job on paper is investigating officers and recommending discipline. In reality? Marcus prompts. Derek scrolls again. In 8 years, he's never recommended termination. He says. Not once. Suspensions, sure. Retraining, absolutely. But nobody gets fired. He leans back, folding his arms. He doesn't protect the public. He protects the department's liability. Marcus shakes his head. So he shields bad cops. He manages risk. Derek corrects. Big difference in their world. Bad cops mean lawsuits. Lawsuits mean settlements. Settlements mean rising insurance costs. Ellis's real mission is to make problems disappear before they get expensive. That's not justice, Marcus says. No, Derek replies. It's math. He closes the spreadsheet and pulls up another table. Good news is this time the math doesn't favor them. Marcus raises an eyebrow. How so? Derek gestures at the screen. Because you're not taking a check and signing an ND. You're not simply leaving town. You've got the footage, the resources, and the stubbornness to push through. That means, for once, we get to pry open the machine and show people how it really runs. Marcus's phone buzzes on the table. A text from Lauren. Office Monday, 10 o'clock a.m. Bring everything. He shows it to Derek. What's Monday? He asks, even though he already knows. Filing day. Derek says. Lauren officially drops the complaint. That starts the clock. The department has 30 days to respond. In the meantime, I keep digging. Marcus asks, digging for what, exactly? Derek smiles without humor. Patterns, he says. One ugly incident can be called a mistake. 12 cases across 12 years. That's a pattern. Add Ellis's cover-ups, and we're bordering on conspiracy. Derek begins packing up his equipment. I'll call Tuesday with a preliminary report, he says. In the meantime, no interviews with the department. No statements on social media. Don't go door to door telling neighbors what happened. The quieter we are, the more evidence we can grab before they bolt the doors. Marcus walks him to the door. So I just live my life, he asks. As much as you can, Derek replies. But keep your phone nearby. This is where it starts getting loud. Derek leaves. The house feels different now. Marcus sits at the kitchen table alone, fingers tracing the fading impressions on his wrists. 12 complaints, 12 years. All people of color. All neatly buried under official stamps and legal jargon. He opens his security app again and scrolls through 2 years of footage. Innocent, everyday moments saved under the label, just in case. Walking to the mailbox. Bringing in groceries. Watering the desert plants in the yard. That phrase sticks in his mind. Just in case. Turns out, he thinks grimly, just in case was exactly right. Monday morning. Downtown Phoenix. Lauren's office sits on the 10th floor of a glass building that reflects the desert sky like a mirror. Marcus arrives at 9:45, 10 minutes early, and is shown into a conference room already littered with paper. Legal pads, printouts, laptops, coffee cups. Lauren walks in a moment later, blazer already off, sleeves rolled. "Coffee?" she asks. "Please," Marcus says. She pours and gets right to business. "Here's where we stand," she says. "Derek's been very busy since Saturday." Derek appears on a large screen via video call, his background a blur of bookshelves. "We filed the preservation order Friday evening," he says, voice crackling slightly. "Judge signed it by 6 p.m. That means everything after 6 is locked. If they delete anything tied to your incident, they're committing a crime. But before that," he smiles. "Before that, their system logs were just sitting there." He shares his screen. Rows of data appear, device IDs, timestamps, status codes. "This is the body cam metadata from their cloud server." Derek highlights a line. "Device 2847, Cooper's camera," he says. "June 14th, 3:51 p.m. Manual override initiated. Status changed from active to standby. Then 4:38 p.m., 3 minutes after they left your street, it flips back to active." Marcus feels his jaw clench. "So he turned it off before he even walked up to the gate," he says. "Exactly," Derek replies. 6 minutes before contact. Not a malfunction, a choice." He moves to another section. "Device 22913, Ortiz's cam. Same timeline. Override at 3:51, reactivated 4:38. Perfect sync." "Could they claim accidental deactivation?" Marcus asks. "Not with these units," Derek says. "The Axon Body 3 requires a very specific button combo to power down. Press and hold 2 buttons simultaneously for 3 seconds. Policy states manual override is only for bathroom breaks or protected informant conversations, not routine responses to noise complaints." Lauren's lips curl. It's a sharp smile. "That's violation number 1, she says. Deliberate deactivation." "What else?" Marcus asks. Derek pulls up another document. Cooper's complaint history, this time straight from internal affairs files. 12 complaints in 12 years appear on screen, summarized in bland, bureaucratic language. Derek scrolls further. "Here's where it gets interesting," he says. "I also pulled email records tied to those complaints." Marcus raises an eyebrow. "You can just do that?" Derek shrugs. "Arizona public records law is surprisingly generous, and someone in the city clerk's office is either overworked or annoyed enough not to fight me yet." An email thread pops up. Subject line, "Cooper situation." From Ellis to the chief's staff, May 2023. Lauren leans closer. The email is short and chilling. Another complaint about Cooper. Same pattern. Traffic stop escalated. Complainant threatening legal action. Ellis recommends standard resolution, a settlement offer of $25,000 and a non-disclosure to make it vanish. "Third incident this year," the email notes. "Recommend counseling and retraining." Derek pulls up the response. The chief of staff replies with one word. Approved. The rest of the thread discusses routing it through legal, minimizing attention, and avoiding another internal investigation that might stir up the union. Marcus feels anger simmering under his skin. "So they have a playbook," he says slowly. "Exactly," Derek replies. "They're not investigating misconduct. They're managing public relations, paying people to go away." He switches to a spreadsheet tracking settlement payouts in the city budget. A line item reads, "Legal settlements and contingencies," followed by numbers, 38,000 in 2019, 52 in 2020, 68 in 2021, 71 in 2022, 61 in 2023, nearly $290,000 in 5 years. And guess whose signature is on every settlement over 10 grand? Derek asks. Lauren answers before Marcus can. "Ellis," she says. Derek nods. 8 years in internal affairs, his name sits on every big payout authorization. He says. He's not cleaning up the department. He's budgeting for its damage. The room goes quiet. Lauren finally speaks. This isn't a story about one cop harassing one homeowner, she says. It's institutional, systemic. They built a mechanism for writing checks instead of fixing anything. And now we can prove it. Emails, settlements, complaint logs, body cam metadata, plus your 12 cameras catching everything. We don't just have a case, Derek adds. We have a scandal. The next morning, before Marcus has even finished his first cup of coffee, his phone starts buzzing with unfamiliar numbers. 6 a.m. notifications pile up. 37 new emails overnight, most from addresses he doesn't recognize. Subject lines scream at him, "Who are you really?" Riverside's victim has a past. The truth about Marcus Reed. He hesitates, then clicks a forwarded link. It leads to a local blog called Riverside Exposed, already running a hit piece on him. The headline screams in all caps, "Who is Marcus Reed really?" The article digs through old LLC filings, taken out of context photos, and half-true anecdotes from former co-workers, painting him as an arrogant hothead who hates police and plays the race card. Comments are worse. Anonymous avatars calling him a con artist, a thug with a laptop. Marcus stares at the screen, jaw tight, and understands. The department isn't just defending itself. It's coming after him. 17 anonymous paragraphs, no byline, all bile. Posted at 5:43 a.m. Marcus scrolls through claims that he has a hidden rap sheet, a decade-old drug charge that never existed, that his tech company was investigated for fraud, that he's sued past employers for quick payouts. Every line is fabricated. What isn't fake are the photos. His house, his Tesla, his license plate, a grainy shot of him leaving home 2 days earlier. The message is obvious. We see you. We know where you live. We're keeping an eye on you. The comments section is worse than the article. 63 comments in 3 hours, and they're escalating. Slurs, threats, fantasies about teaching him a lesson. Marcus stops reading after the 5th commenter suggests someone should handle the problem permanently. His phone rings. "Lauren, you've seen it?" he asks. "Yeah," she says. "Do not respond. Don't post, don't email, don't feed it. This is their playbook." "They try to poison the well?" Lauren says, voice calm but razor sharp. "Character assassination, early and loud. Turn you into the villain before the real story breaks, so people doubt you." Marcus paces the kitchen. "Derek's already tracing the IP trail," she adds. "The post is routed through a VPN, but the original upload pings back to a city government IP range. Not proof yet, but it's a hell of a starting point." Marcus exhales. "So they're smearing me on my own dime." "Looks that way," Lauren says. "We'll prove it eventually. For now, forward everything. Screenshots of the post, every hateful message, every threat. I want it all documented by noon." Marcus spends the next hour compiling. It gets uglier. 3 of his business contacts receive anonymous emails titled, "Do you know who you're working with?" Same lies, same invented criminal history, same insinuations that he's a litigious scammer targeting innocent police. One longtime client calls immediately, concern in his voice. "Marcus, I just got a weird email about you," the man says. "This is garbage, right?" Marcus rubs his forehead. "Completely made up. I'm dealing with it." The client sighs. "You in trouble with the cops?" "I'm holding them accountable. They're not thrilled," Marcus replies. "Say no more," the man says. "You need anything, you call." 2 other clients don't call at all. They simply stop replying to his messages. By Friday, Marcus has quietly lost 180 grand in contracts. Wednesday morning, a number he doesn't recognize flashes across his phone. "Mr. Reed, this is Dana from Summit Mortgage," a woman chirps. "We're doing a routine review of your account. We'll need updated financials within 14 days. Marcus frowns. "I've been on autopay for 2 years. Never missed a payment." "Of course," she says smoothly. "This is standard for high-value properties." She reads off the list. Proof of income, 3 years of tax returns, bank statements, investment portfolios, everything short of his blood type. Marcus emails the documents that afternoon, every form pristine. He knows they'll find nothing. That isn't the point. The goal is pressure. Make him nervous, make him feel unstable, make him wonder what happens if they suddenly review his loan harder. By Thursday evening, another shot lands. An envelope from the HOA appears in his mailbox. Formal notice of complaint, disruptive resident behavior. He opens it at the counter, stomach tightening as he reads the bureaucratic accusation laid out in neat paragraphs. The letter cites multiple concerns from neighbors about confrontational interactions with law enforcement and announces a special board meeting to discuss community standards and resident conduct. Marcus reads it twice. Confrontational interactions, he thinks, like getting cuffed in your driveway for existing. He calls Lauren. They're ramping up, he says. Good, she replies. Good, Marcus echoes. If they weren't scared, they'd stay quiet. Smears, financial pokes, HOA threats, this is all retaliation. And every retaliatory step they take becomes evidence. Evidence of what? Marcus asks. Lauren doesn't hesitate. Witness intimidation, obstruction, a pattern of trying to shut you up. He hears her typing. Forward the HOA letter, she says. I'll draft a response and start a retaliation claim. Marcus, how are you actually doing? He looks around his kitchen, at the house he spent 7 brutal years earning. This place was supposed to be safe. A reward, not a battlefield. I'm exhausted, he admits. Mitts quietly. I know, Lauren says, but you cannot quit. That's the end game, she continues. They want you to tap out. They want you to take a quiet settlement, sign an NDA, disappear. That's Ellis's blueprint. Drag it out, make it expensive, drain you. Marcus shakes his head. I'm not folding, he says. Good, Lauren replies, because we found something. She pauses. Derek tracked down 3 other complainants, people who filed against Cooper and took settlements. They're ready to talk. Marcus goes still. For real? Off the record at first, she says, but on the record if we protect them. One is a teacher, single mom, Lauren explains. Cooper stopped her for a broken tail light that wasn't broken, searched her car, made her late to pick up her kid. She filed a complaint. Ellis offered $15,000 and a non-disclosure to make it vanish. She was drowning in loans. She took it. Marcus closes his eyes. And now? He asks. Now she's furious, Lauren says. She's been carrying this for 3 years, watching Cooper still out there, pulling people over. She wants it to end. Her name's Lisa Harper, Lauren adds. The other 2? Both black, both professionals, both treated like suspects. They thought they were alone. Now they know they're not. There's a pause. You did that, Marcus, Lauren says softly. By refusing to disappear, by having cameras, by saying no to hush money. Friday afternoon, Marcus is staring listlessly at the pool when the doorbell rings. He checks his camera feed. Linda Baker stands on the porch, clutching a thin folder, knuckles white. For a second, he considers ignoring her. This is the same neighbor who watched him get hauled in cuffs and said nothing. But something in her face, a tremor, a kind of regret, makes him open the door. Linda stands there, folder shaking in her hands. I should have come sooner, she blurts. I'm sorry. Marcus says nothing. Can I come in? She asks quietly. He steps aside. She walks to the kitchen like a woman on thin ice and sets the folder gently on the counter. Linda opens it. Inside are 3 handwritten pages and a few blurry photos. I wrote everything I remember from that Friday, she says. Times what the officers said, what you said, where they stood. I heard more than I wanted to admit. Her voice wavers. I watched them cuff you for absolutely nothing, and I just stood there. I didn't want to believe police could act like that here, not in our neighborhood, but they did. I can't pretend otherwise anymore, Marcus finally speaks. Why now? He asks quietly. Linda looks at her lined hands. Because Captain Ellis came by yesterday, she says. Wanted to know what kind of neighbor you are, if I'd seen anything suspicious, if you cause problems. Her spine straightens. He wasn't checking on our safety. He He was building a case against you. That's when I realized this isn't about you being dangerous. It's about them covering themselves, and I refuse to help them do it." She taps the folder. "So that's everything I remember. And I took these pictures from my window." She slides the grainy photos over. Marcus cuffed, officers looming, timestamps visible. "They're not great," she says, "but they match your cameras, and if you need me to, I'll testify. I'll tell under oath what I saw." Marcus reads the first page, her handwriting tight and meticulous. After Linda leaves, he sits at the counter with her folder. One more witness, one more person refusing to look away. 3 weeks into the fight, Marcus still hasn't set foot in the pool. He can't quite say why. The water's clean, the desert weather is perfect, 98 degrees and cloudless. But every time he glances at the shimmering blue surface, he sees himself instead, dripping, cuffed, on display for a neighbor who hid behind curtains. Legal invoices are stacking up, 45,000 and climbing. Lauren's rate, Derek's forensic work, filing fees, potential expert witnesses. Marcus can cover it. That's not what gnaws at him. What stings is realizing how quickly some people bailed. Not the lost income. He's financially safe. It's the silence. The way clients he'd delivered for over years believed a shady blog more readily than his word. The way neighbors who once waved now look away at the mailbox. The HOA meeting is set for Tuesday. Lauren will attend in his place, but he knows the vibe already. In their eyes, he's become the disruption, the guy who refused to let things stay comfortable. Late at night, when the house is quiet and the desert hums outside his windows, Marcus sometimes wonders if he should have taken Ellis's offer. File a neat report, accept a vague apology, let everyone move on. If he'd swallowed it, Cooper would still patrol, but Marcus's life would be easy again. No smear campaigns, no threats, no endless documents. His phone rings, breaking the spiral. He almost ignores it, then checks the screen. Unknown number. He answers anyway. "This is Marcus." "Mr. Reed?" a woman asks. Her voice is cautious. "Yes," he says. "My name is Lisa Harper. Lauren Price said I could call." Marcus sits up straighter. "You're the teacher," he says. "Middle school," she answers. "I wanted to say thank you." "For what?" he asks, genuinely confused. "For not backing down," she says. "For not taking the settlement. I took mine 3 years ago. 15 grand. It felt huge back then. Student loans, a kid who needed braces, and they promised it would all disappear." She laughs once, bitterly. "But it never disappeared," Lisa says. "Now when I see a patrol car, I freeze. I avoid the street where he stopped me. I read anything with Cooper's name and think, I could have stopped this if I'd been braver." Marcus leans against the wall. "You weren't wrong for taking the settlement," he says quietly. "Maybe not," she replies, "but I was wrong for staying silent. Lauren told me you've got everything on video, that you're going after the system, not just him." "That's the idea," Marcus says. "Then I want in," Lisa replies. "I'll sign whatever, testify, break that NDA if I have to. I don't care anymore. My daughter's 11 now. She's going to grow up in a world where cops like Cooper exist. I want her to know her mom tried to change that, not hide from it." They talk for 20 minutes. Lisa walks him through that night. Fake tail light, forced car search, cold curb, Clark's call, the tempting 15,000 and the silence afterward. "I thought I was alone," Lisa says. "That's what they count on. Isolation, shame, make you feel like you're the only one." Marcus shakes his head. "You're not alone anymore," he says. "Not even close." After they hang up, he walks to the sliding glass door and stares out at the pool. The water gleams under the Arizona sun, clear and still. He opens the door, steps into the heat, and pads across the stone deck until his toes curl over the edge. He dips a foot into the water. It's perfect. Cool, but not cold. Marcus pulls off his shirt, lays it on a chair, and slowly steps down into the pool. The water climbs to his chest, then his shoulders, washing away sweat and tension. He leans back, floats, lets the sun burn away some of the dread. It's the first time in 3 weeks he feels remotely like himself. Not because the battle is finished, but because he remembers exactly why it matters. The first call from another victim comes Tuesday morning. "Mr. Reed, my name's Andre Wallace," a man says. "I think Officer Cooper did the same thing to me." By Friday, the calls have multiplied. 8 people, 6 black and 2 Latino, ages late 20s to mid-50s. Most have careers: teachers, nurses, engineers, small business owners. Every story sounds like a variation on his: minor pretext, escalating humiliation, then a quiet offer of money and a non-disclosure agreement. Marcus listens, takes notes, feels fury harden into resolve. Lauren schedules a group meeting at her office for Wednesday night. Marcus shows up early, nerves buzzing. The conference room is arranged in a circle instead of rows. Chairs, a table with coffee and water, tissues discreetly placed at both ends. Her assistant adjusts an audio recorder on a tripod. "We're taping?" Marcus asks. "Audio only for documentation," Lauren says. "No one's obligated to go on record yet, but if they're willing, I want their stories preserved, not twisted later." People trickle in. Lisa arrives first and squeezes Marcus's hand. "Thank you for picking up," she says. Next is Andre, 35, math teacher, bouncing his foot with nervous energy. Then comes Monica Rivera, 43, pediatric nurse, Daniel Brooks, small business owner, Jordan Turner, IT consultant, Sonia Morales, accountant, and Kyle Adams, logistics manager. Last, surprisingly, is Linda Baker, slipping quietly into a corner chair. 9 people, 9 histories tangled with the same officer. Lauren clears her throat and begins. "Thank you all for coming," she says. "I know it took courage just to walk through that door. Some of you signed NDAs. Others were strongly discouraged from speaking. Those agreements were made under pressure. What we're doing here is not breaking contracts. It's exposing a deliberate pattern." She taps a remote. A screen drops showing one of Derek's spreadsheets. 5 years of complaints, settlement dates, bodycam malfunctions, all tied to Cooper or officers partnered with him, all routed through Ellis. Lauren clicks again. On screen appears the total $85,000 in settlements they can directly verify. Likely more, hidden by sealed records, she says. 17 complaints involving this cluster of officers. 0 meaningful discipline, 0 terminations, 0 criminal referrals. The room is silent. What they didn't factor in, Lauren continues, was Marcus refusing a payoff, having 12 cameras rolling, and contacting me instead of caving. For the first time, we have hard evidence, video, emails, metadata, to match your stories. She looks around the circle. "I won't lie. If you go public, they'll try to come for you. They'll question your motives, dig through your histories, try to make you the problem. But if you stand together, if we demonstrate that this is a consistent pattern, not isolated incidents, we can force real change, not just a new HR memo." Andre clears his throat. "What do you need from us?" he asks. "Sworn statements," Lauren answers. "Dates, times, names, what was said, what you were offered to stay quiet. And if this reaches trial," she continues, "some of you willing to testify in court." Lisa doesn't hesitate. "I'm in," she says. "Me too," Monica adds. One by one, almost everyone nods. 8 victims, 8 witnesses, 8 people who thought they'd been carrying this alone. Not anymore. Derek pulls up a map of Riverside Heights and surrounding blocks. Colored pins drop in on the screen, each marking an incident location. They cluster within a tight 2-mile radius. Same neighborhoods, same tactics, same officer. "This is what systemic targeting looks like," Derek says, pointing to the cluster. Marcus stares at the map. 9 pins, 9 lives thrown sideways by 1 cop shielded by 1 supervisor. By 9 p.m., the meeting winds down. People trade phone numbers, start a group chat, and name it the Riverside Accountability Network. They agree to check in weekly. At the door, Linda touches Marcus's arm. "I've voted law and order my whole life," she says, eyes wet. "I never questioned police. Until this." She gestures back toward the conference room. "This is wrong," she says quietly, "and I'm too old to pretend I don't see it. Thank you for making room for an old lady who woke up late." Marcus smiles faintly. "Thank you for showing up at all," he replies. He watches her disappear into the Phoenix night, followed by 8 others who, for the first time, know they aren't alone. Lauren joins him at the doorway, case files under her arm. "You did this," she says. "We did this," Marcus counters. Lauren shakes her head. "No," she says. "You did. By refusing to be invisible, by pointing cameras at the truth, by calling me instead of shrugging it off." She snaps her briefcase shut. "Now we follow it through." The next morning, Derek calls early. "I found something," he says. "Big." 30 minutes later, Marcus sits in Lauren's office, while Derek sets 3 laptops on the table, all showing spreadsheets. "I've been cross-referencing city budget records with settlement payouts," he explains. "I wanted to see not just how much they spent, but where it came from." He opens a document labeled City of Riverside, Budget FY 2019, FY 2024. There's a line item for legal settlements and contingencies, about $100,000 a year. "Perfectly normal," Derek says. "Every city reserves money for slip and falls, car accidents, random lawsuits. But check the actual expenditures column." He highlights numbers. Only around $40,000 goes to typical settlements. The rest, roughly $60,000 per year, flows somewhere else. "That extra money moves into a special fund," Derek says. "Account number SVL5529. In the public budget, it's basically unlabeled, just an internal code." Lauren leans forward. "What kind of fund?" she asks. "That's what I couldn't see at first," Derek replies. "So I pestered the city controller with records requests. Took 3 weeks, but this morning they sent an audit log." He opens another spreadsheet. 5 years of transactions, each with a date, amount, and authorization signature. Marcus scans the entries and feels his stomach drop. 2 payments in 2019 for a total of $38,000. 3 in 2020 for $52. 4 in 2021 for $68. 3 in 2022 for $71. 2 in 2023 for $61, Derek says. "That's $290,000 in 5 years, all from this hidden account." Then he zooms in on the signature line. Every single transaction, 14 payments in total, bears the same name: Captain Raymond Ellis, Internal Affairs. "He's not just reviewing complaints," Lauren says slowly. "He's managing the money that shuts them down." Derek nods. "I cross-checked the dates. Every time we saw one of those standard resolution emails about Cooper, a payment left this fund within 30 days. Here." He pulls up a timeline. Complaint filed in March 2019, payout in April. Complaint in June 2020, payout in July. Complaint in November 2021, payout in December. Marcus stares. "They're not investigating misconduct," he says. "They're processing it like invoices." "Exactly," Derek replies. Complaint comes in. Ellis evaluates. A settlement offer goes out. Victim signs an NDA. Money leaves the fund. Case stamped resolved next. He leans back. "And the worst part? This isn't insurance money. It's coming directly from city funds, taxpayer dollars." Lauren's fingers hammer across her keyboard. "That's misuse of public money," she says. "If he's doing this systematically, we're looking at potential fraud and conspiracy." Marcus asks, "Can we prove intent?" Derek pulls up one last email. It's dated January 2023. Ellis emailing the police chief. Subject line: Settlement Fund Allocation. Derek reads aloud. "Another Cooper situation. 4th in 18 months. We're burning through the special settlement account faster than projected. Recommend increasing allocation for FY24. These situations aren't going away. We need a sustainable funding model. Lauren repeats the phrase slowly. A sustainable funding model, she says. He isn't trying to stop the misconduct. He's building a budget to live with it long term. The room goes quiet. Marcus thinks about Lisa, about the $15,000 that changed her financial life for a moment and chained her voice for years. She thought she was alone, that taking the money would bring closure. Instead, she became another line item, another situation in Ellis's spreadsheets. This changes everything, Marcus says. Yes, Lauren agrees. This isn't just about taking Cooper's badge anymore. This is about dismantling the cover-up structure that protected him. Ellis, the command staff, anyone who signed off on these budgets. Derek closes his laptops, but his mind is still spinning. I'll keep digging, he says. See if this fund covers other officers with similar complaint patterns, or if Cooper is just the most obvious. If Ellis ran this playbook for others, that widens the conspiracy. Lauren nods. How long? She asks. Give me a week, Derek says. Lauren looks at Marcus. We go public in 10 days, she says. Press conference, every victim willing to stand beside you. And we don't ask for an internal review. We call for a grand jury, a real criminal investigation, not an in-house whitewash. She adds. Marcus looks at the numbers still glowing on the screen. $290,000, 5 years, 14 confirmed payouts, and who knows how many more buried deeper. They built a machine, he says quietly, for burying complaints and buying silence. Lauren nods once, and we're about to jam it. On August 22nd, the grand jury room feels smaller than Marcus imagined. The Maricopa County Courthouse is all marble and echo outside. This room is fluorescent and plain. He arrives at 8:30 with Lauren. Outside, news vans choke the curb. Reporters bark questions. Cameras track his every step. Marcus keeps his eyes straight ahead. Inside, on the 3rd floor, the grand jury room holds 23 citizens with notepads, a prosecutor at the front and a court reporter. No defense counsel, by design. Marcus sits at the witness table while Lauren takes a seat in the back row as an observer. The prosecutor nods. Mr. Reed, please state your full name for the record. Marcus Donovan Reed, he says. Thank you. The prosecutor replies. We understand you want to present information about events on June 14th involving members of the Riverside Police Department. Marcus nods. Yes. You may proceed, the prosecutor says. Marcus stands. He doesn't bring notes. He's practiced this 40 times, 47 minutes of story etched into his brain. On June 14th, at 3:42 p.m, I was alone in my backyard pool. He begins. No music, no guests, just me, in the home I've owned for 2 years. He describes the gate buzzer, the officers at the intercom, Cooper's demand to prove he lived there. They cuffed me in my driveway, Marcus says, while my neighbor watched from her window. He connects his phone to the court display, and 12 camera feeds appear. Gate, driveway, pool, street. These are my security cameras, he explains. 12 angles, 4K resolution, cloud backup. They recorded everything. He plays the footage. The jurors watch Cooper's sneer. Hear, guys like you don't belong here, echo through the speakers. Marcus pauses on Cooper's face, mid-sneer. Officer Cooper assumed I was a criminal, he says calmly. Why? Because I'm black and standing in front of $1 million home. In his mind, that math only equals drug dealer or thief. He resumes the clip, handcuffs clamping, Linda's curtain moving, Marcus standing barefoot on baking concrete. I was detained 23 minutes, he says. During that time, both officers' body cams were off. He switches to Derek's analysis. Logs, device IDs, timestamps, proof of manual overrides at 3:51 p.m. These cameras don't just malfunction together, Marcus explains. They require a deliberate button sequence to shut off. Policy only allows overrides for bathroom breaks or protected informant conversations. This was neither. It was a routine call about a noise complaint that didn't exist. He moves to another slide. 12 complaints in 12 years, Every complainant a person of color, every case stamped unfounded or quietly resolved. Officer Cooper has done this before, Marcus says. At least 12 times we can document. Every time, Internal Affairs Lieutenant Ellis intervened. He brings up the settlement fund spreadsheet. Ellis used a special account, SVL 5529, to pay victims to stay quiet. Marcus continues. Over 5 years, the city paid roughly $290,000 from this fund, all tied to complaints like mine. Emails appear on screen. Standard resolution: keep this quiet. Sustainable funding model. They built a system not to prevent misconduct. Marcus says, voice still steady. But to budget for it, treating people's trauma like a manageable expense line instead of a crisis demanding reform. He plays audio clips from witnesses. Linda describing what she saw from her window, Lisa recounting the night she was pulled over and pressured into signing an NOI, Andre explaining his own traffic stop. 8 stories, 8 different nights, the same officer or his partners, the same supervisor, the same settlement funnel. I'm not here because I'm mad about handcuffs, Marcus says in closing. I'm here because this pattern is deliberate, organized, and funded with public money. If this isn't stopped, it will keep happening. 47 minutes after he began, Marcus sits back down. The room is heavy with silence. The prosecutor stands. Questions from the grand jury? A woman in the second row raises her hand. These other victims? She asks. Are they willing to testify? Yes, Marcus says. Several are ready to go on record. And the footage? Another juror asks. Everything you saw today, and more, has been turned over in full. Marcus replies. All 12 angles, full timeline. Has the department responded to you directly? Someone else asks. Marcus nods once. They offered me $50,000 and a non-disclosure agreement, he says. A ripple of murmurs spreads through the rows. I declined. The prosecutor thanks him and calls the next witnesses. Linda testifies, hands shaking but voice clear. I watched from my living room, she says. Mr. Reed was polite. The officers were not. Lisa follows. Derek walks the jurors through logs and budget trails. A representative from the city controller's office confirms the existence and purpose of the special fund. By 2 p.m., testimony wraps. Marcus waits outside with Lauren as the grand jury deliberates. 90 minutes later, the prosecutor appears. The grand jury has returned indictments, she says. Against Officer Paul Cooper and Captain Raymond Ellis, charges are read. For Cooper, official misconduct, false reporting, deprivation of rights under color of law. For Ellis, obstruction of justice, misuse of public funds, official misconduct, conspiracy. Arrest warrants are issued immediately. Marcus feels the hallway tilt for a second as the words sink in. That afternoon at 4:15, news cameras capture Cooper being pulled from a patrol car, hands cuffed behind him, expression stunned. The footage plays on local stations all evening. Early the next morning, Ellis is arrested at his suburban home, led down his driveway in pajamas while reporters crowd the sidewalk. The police chief holds a press conference. We respect the grand jury process, she says stiffly. Both officers have been placed on unpaid suspension pending trial. We take these allegations very seriously. Marcus watches it all on his living room TV, remote clenched in his hand. Cooper's mugshot flashes beside Ellis's booking photo. Underneath, headlines scroll, Grand jury indicts 2 Riverside officers, secret settlement fund exposed, $290K in payoffs uncovered. His phone buzzes. Lauren. We won, she says simply. Marcus looks at the screen, at the images of the men who tried to crush him. No, he replies quietly. We started winning. The trials are where it really counts. Lauren laughs softly. Fair enough, but today still matters. 5 days later, on September 1st, the city announces both Cooper and Ellis have been fired. Officially terminated, no severance. Pensions under review. Ellis's criminal trial is set for January on multiple felony counts. If convicted, he could face up to 8 years. His attorney files motion after motion to dismiss or narrow the charges. The judge denies each one. Cooper folds early. He takes a plea deal, admitting to 2 counts of official misconduct in exchange for a lighter sentence. Cooper receives 18 months in jail and 5 years of probation. He is permanently barred from working in law enforcement again. Under public pressure, the police chief outlines reforms. The City Council passes Resolution 2024-156. Body cams must remain on during all citizen interactions. No manual overrides except in restrooms, with automatic audit logs. An independent civilian oversight board is created. 9 residents with real investigative authority. Annual public reports of all complaints and settlements become mandatory, along with third-party audits of any special funds. It isn't utopia. It doesn't magically fix everything, but it's different. There are rules now with teeth instead of slogans. In mid-September, Marcus returns to the pool on a Friday afternoon. Nearly the same time everything began. He steps into the water, leans back, and floats, the sun warming his face. Across the way, Linda stands at her window, not hiding this time. She opens it, waves, and leaves it open. The cameras still watch silently from the eaves, their tiny lenses catching nothing dramatic. Marcus hasn't disabled them and probably never will. But when he checks the feeds now, it's just him swimming, grilling, laughing with friends. No patrol cars creeping by. No officers at the gate demanding to see his ID on his own property. They saw a black man they decided didn't belong. He answered with 12 cameras and a refusal to shut up. The truth didn't just cost 2 men their badges. It forced a department to change and gave 8 other people their voices back. 1 phone call. 1 name. Lauren Price. That's all it took to turn a routine harassment into something the city couldn't bury. If this story hits you anywhere in your chest, if you've ever been told you don't belong in a space you earned, share it. Send it to someone who needs the reminder. Accountability isn't dead. It just requires evidence and endurance. Justice isn't flashy, but it's persistent. Sometimes, 1 person with cameras and courage is enough to shake an entire system. So here's the question I'll leave you with. What would you do if this happened to you? Would you take the payout and disappear? Or would you fight, knowing how long and ugly it gets? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me your stories, because the more of us who refuse to be quiet, the harder it is for any department, any city, any system to pretend it doesn't see the truth. Thanks for sticking with this. I'll see you in the next one. Lesson 1. Prepare for injustice, even when life looks peaceful. If you're in your 60s or 70s, you've seen this country promise equality more than once. Yet Marcus Reed's story reminds us that trouble can still come on a quiet afternoon, when you're just floating in your own backyard pool. He did what many of you once taught your children and grandchildren to do. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. He invested in those 12 cameras, kept his records in order, and knew exactly which lawyer to call. That wasn't paranoia. It was wisdom, born from a lifetime of watching how quickly things can turn when a black man is seen as a suspect instead of a citizen. For older Americans who remember dogs and fire hoses on the evening news, that lesson rings painfully familiar. Lesson 2. 1 voice is powerful, but many voices are unstoppable. Marcus could have handled this quietly, taken a check, and disappeared back into comfort. Instead, he stood his ground. And something remarkable happened. Other people stepped out of the shadows. The teacher with loans, the nurse, the engineer, the small business owner. Each one thought they were alone. Even his white neighbor Linda, who once hid behind her curtains, found the courage to tell the truth. For those of you who lived through Vietnam protests, women's marches, and neighborhood organizing, you know this pattern well. Real change doesn't come from one hero. It comes when ordinary people decide, enough, and link arms. Lesson 3. Real accountability takes time, but it's worth the fight. By the time the grand jury handed down indictments and the city finally fired Cooper and Ellis, months had passed. Smear campaigns, HOA letters, financial pressure. Marcus walked through all of it. Many of you understand that kind of long, grinding struggle. You've waited on test results, sat through union meetings, watched loved ones battle illness, or fought for benefits that took years to arrive. His victory wasn't just about two men losing badges. It forced new rules, real oversight, and public records that can't be quietly buried again. For older Americans, the deeper message is simple. Your experience, your patience, and your willingness to speak up are still powerful tools. You are not done shaping what justice looks like in this country. The fight may be hard, but as Marcus shows us, it is ever hopeless. And it is never too late to push the system to do better. Friends, after hearing Marcus Reed's story and these 3 lessons, I'd love to hear from you. If something like this happened to you or to someone you love, especially at our age, what do you think you would do? Take the payout for peace and quiet? Or hold on and fight for change, even when it gets long, messy, and public? Have you ever faced a moment when speaking up cost you something, but you did it anyway? Share your experience in the comments, and please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos.